Hey, g'day guys, how you going? It's Justin Allen here with my Good Advice channel, here to give you good advice for a better future. Right guys, I just want to give you guys an update what I've been up to. I've been a bit busy, haven't really got into YouTube that much, so I want to, say what I'm up to, what I have the big plan for this year, 2021. It's currently March. So basically at the moment, I'm building a mobile app that I think is going to be pretty big, but it's just, I believe in this concept. It's just a racehorse. So basically that means it's like has a lot of potential. I think this racehorse has a lot of potential, but we just don't know yet until we put it out on the racetrack. We've got to just see what happens, take it from now. Hopefully the people that are building it are doing a good job and it doesn't get heaps of bugs and all that shit. It's going to be a social media platform. It's going to be on both platforms, Android and iOS, and I can't really disclose too much about it, so you'll have to just keep pondering on what it could be. At this stage, I'll let you guys know. It'll be probably finished in October, so I'm not sure, roughly around then. I have no idea. It's out of my hands. At the present state, we're up to building the platform, and we're probably 25% into the build. The prototype took 3 months to complete last year. I've currently, what else I've been up to is I've been writing a book. You can check it out on Kindle, the eBooks. It's currently on there, called the Treasure Map Checklist. So I believe there's got to be a checklist. Like when you do everything in life, there has to come down to a checklist of what to do. So that's why I call it that. And a treasure map is basically just your main plan of action. So I believe that you got to have 2 treasure maps. One treasure map is just you're playing it safe money, and then the other one is your main treasure map that's going to bring you heaps of riches. There's a lot of good information in the book, and I'll tell you straight up, there's no way I can talk like that book off the bat of my head, even though I've written it. There's no way no one can just. So basically, I can only take pieces of the book. I can't tell every nuance of information. It's just impossible. I can only give grasp into the information to get. You got to realize when you write a book, that book was written on a different level of energy. Many brain energy downloads of your brain, many days, deep thought. So there's just no way. There's no way you can do that just while you're driving a car. Right now I'm going to the gym, about to commence my day, just clean the car. Tell you what, the traffic in Melbourne is shit now. It's very busy. Everyone's in a mad rush. I tell you, you don't want to be on the road in peak hour anymore. You're better off working from home. So guys, what happened, what gave me the motivation to write this book was I was driving last year and I accidentally had a big accident. My car was taken off the road, and I kept on, previously I just knew I had a book in my brain just wanting to come out. I just wanted to write that book, but I just didn't have the time. So I had a car accident, and my car, the driver's door was hit by a Holden. He smashed straight into it. It was my fault and their fault. I have to say it was more my fault, but it's what's happens. So you just got to cop it. So I turned a negative into a positive, and I thought, on the way home when I was driving the car home, I was like, oh gee, I'm not wasting this time. I'm going to write a book, the Treasure Map Checklist. I just knew what I was going to be about, and I put pieces of bits of information together that I had previously written in the past, all together into one book. And it's turned out to be a better book than I ever imagined. I've had a lot of people help me, other authors and other successful people help me write the book with lots of their information and ideas, and I've just basically zoomed in and listened and listened to audio content, and I've picked Justin Allen, the obsessed guy. I've picked what I believe will make a really good book. So if you want to check it out, it's on Kindle, but it's not fully finished yet. I've still got some notes down here on my notepad. I've still got to add more information, and I was getting it narrated, and the narrator recommended for me to get it edited again to make it a bit better, make it more flowy, and double check the grammar and everything. I'm not an expert at it. I know how to write a book, but I'm not the best at editing, so you better to leave that to a professional. It's already been edited once, so I'm going for a second edit. It's going to be edited on Fiverr. It's the best place to go. Fiverr.com, or the mobile app. It's pretty cheap. It's reasonable price, but I recommend you check the reviews of some people. Haven't had much experience, and the ones with like heaps of stars of how many reviews. So you pick the one, pick someone that's well experienced is much better. They're more likely to do a good job, and otherwise it can be a bit of a gamble. I have used some people on Fiverr and they've done a shit job. I tell you, I've got a refund. I've asked for a refund and end up wasting your time. My book is completely about the mindset, or the mindset of how to. You got to be like a warrior, and you got to know what to do, and you got to shift from the person you are now into another person to become successful. You got to learn what to delete and what to add into your brain. So I previously tried to build another mobile app, but it didn't work out, and they ripped me off. But to be honest, it's sort of turned a negative into a positive. It's like that idea was shit anyway. This idea I've come up with is totally different, but that idea led to another idea, and then that led to another idea after that. I can tell you a bit about the story and stuff. I've sold my t-shirt printer now. I only looked at that as a hobby. I sold that back in October last year, 2020. Put it on eBay. I did a small job for a customer, 7 t-shirts for a female, about a 20-year-old, and I was just like, nah, just had a gut feeling that this is not what I want to do anymore. And what inspired me to like take up the t-shirt printer was, I was like, in high school I used to do a lot of sketching on paper of like t-shirt designs, like surf t-shirts, like rusty surfboards and stuff, and that sort of like was my inspiration. It's like I always had that. Sometimes you do a lot of things in your life just to tick that off your bucket list, I believe, just so you can say you've been there, done that, experienced it. So basically, like I say, I've been there, done that. It is good to have a printer, but I'd have to say it's much better to just hire someone like T-Shirt Mill, or some big company. It's not really worth it. The ink is very expensive. You have to be too much a part of the process. Can't be automated. The T-shirt printer can't just print and do everything by itself. You have to be a part of the process. And if you stuff up a T-shirt, then you're out of pocket. There goes your profits. You can waste a T-shirt can cost $7, and then you waste the ink, and then you've basically done the job for pretty much peanuts or nothing if you stuff up 2 T-shirts. And the printer doesn't always work properly, and it's a bit of a guesswork of the size, and it can drip paint, drip the ink, white drops all over it, and it's not a very good business. There's no way you can make a lot of money in doing that. The only way you can make a lot of money in doing that is like doing merchandise for YouTubers, I think. That's the only way, and you'd have to have, you really have to have that done overseas where the labour's cheaper, because you need a human to do it, so therefore, Anyway, I just had a gut feeling to move on, and I sold it, put the money towards this mobile app I'm building at the moment. I got 20 grand for it. I lost money, but I did learn a lot of information from that experience that I'll carry forward. Like, I've learned that you don't fully know something you don't fully know something until you get right into it and either do a full investigation, like really deep investigation, like fully check things out, or you jump into it. You just don't know. We don't know the future. That's just a part of life. We don't know the future outcome, but we can do some things are pretty obvious, you know, once you do a rough analysis. Well, anyway, like I've come up with this app idea. I'm very excited about it. It's like so excited. I've on my mobile phone, on the lock screen on my phone, I've put the logo and the name, and it's a big inspiration. I recommend to do with that with anything in your life. That your biggest inspiration you should put on your lock screen. You can look at it all the time for inspiration to keep going, and you got to realize big things take a long time. You know, it's a marathon, not a sprint, so you need that long-term motivation, and that's the best way to do it, I believe, is to put it on your lock screen, a photo of inspiration, whatever that may be. Everyone's is different. Someone might be a Lamborghini, someone might be a house, someone might be a holiday. Everybody's dream is different. We're all different. If everyone listened to the same music, same movie, it wouldn't be it'd be a very boring world, you know what I mean? Well, anyway, so I'm very excited about that, but I have had a lot of difficulties, and I'd have to say, like, with creating your own treasure map, I would have to say, my honest opinion is it's the hardest thing to ever come up with life, is picking something that you really want to do. Like, everyone has, like, when they're at school, they don't know what they want to do with their life, and they try, and it's sort of a gamble. But if you keep trying, it's like basketball. If you keep shooting, you eventually get one in. You got to just keep finding an idea that takes off and goes in, something that you like to do. I believe, like, people say that you got to love what you do. I believe you just have to not wire your brain to hate it. You just have to like it, because no matter what you do, eventually it gets, when you put in enough hours, it gets boring, no matter what you do. So you just have to not hate doing it, you know. When you hate doing something, it's sort of hard to come back again to liking it again, unless you have a long break from it, build your love back up. So anyway, I'm very, very, very excited about this mobile app. I don't know what it is, but I've got a gut feeling that it's going to be big, but time will tell. You know, you just don't know, do you? Like I say, I always say 60% positive and 40% negative, because if you're too positive, you know, if things don't work out, you're going to be gutted and you're going to be depressed. You got to also think, you know, you got to be prepared, you know, prepared for the worst, but yet hope for the best, like the quotation. So guys, what like led me to this idea that I've got now with this mobile app? I would have to say it's a long story, but I'd have to say, like, a lot of people don't realize, right? Napoleon Hill says this, right? A true genius is someone who uses their sixth sense, their intuition. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, you got to realize that part of your brain is like a muscle. You have to work it out, and it's sort of like your subconscious mind, your inner voice. Trying to direct you what to do. So sometimes you got to realize that subconscious mind is like a computer trying to throw out words into your brain, talking for you to lead you where to go. It's sort of trying to help you, steer you to. It's like it's trying to solve your problems. So you got to realize that sometimes you got to listen to it. So I originally first come up with this idea, like, I was at I used to work for FedEx. Did some TNT, so it's called both now. And I was listening to Think and Grow Rich at work via YouTube, and I don't know what happened, but I did have that moment when I was like, I think I know what I want to do, but then I didn't really pursue it. You know, sometimes you have this like a lightning bulb of information, you just go, oh, that's a good idea, but I don't know if I'll do it, you know. And then sometimes you do and sometimes don't. Most people just like ignore it, I suppose, because they like, oh, what if this? I haven't. You gotta. It just happens. So anyway, and then down the track, I tried. You know, basically, it's hard to get into every nuance of information. I'm trying to drive here, so. But basically, like, I tried this other idea, but I didn't really investigate it, and I went for a company to build it for me. I originally, this is back in 2019, I finished my book, Obsessed About Financial Freedom, and I was buying a block of land, and I was waiting for that to all settle and then get all the mortgage all sorted, and then I could leave. And then I gave the company my 2 weeks notice, and I wanted to move on. I had enough. The job was just very boring. It's like, it was a 5-hour shift on average, from 4:30 till 9:30 at night. And I would have to say it was very boring. Like, it almost say 5 hours feels like 10 hours when you're at the wrong job. It's very boring. And I was like, I can't do this, you know, in the long term. It's just too boring. There has to be another way. There has to be another way. So basically, I kept on thinking until I come up with answers, and I decided to just have a go at buying that t-shirt printer and just have it as a side hustle. I knew it wasn't going to be nothing special, not make me a billionaire, you know. Anyway, and then I tried this other idea, and I bought the domain, and it didn't work out. The company ripped me off. Fast forward a year, you know, I put my trust into this company, and it was called DreamWalk Development Apps. It's like you can look it up on the internet. It's called DreamWalk, and they tell you what, they walked off with my money. I tell you, they provided no value. I think that company's a scam. They don't provide any value. Like, they just provide you, you know, really poor quality work. You're better off going on Upwork than them for sure. Like, you know, I didn't get any value out of that company. But the company I'm with now, I won't disclose who I'm through, but I'm through a different company now, and I did a thorough investigation of everything, the company, their work. I've seen an app that they've got out now. You got to realize that when you're hiring workers, it's either into two categories. Either gonna rip you off, or they're going to provide value. It's either deception or value. So you got to realize that not everybody's created equal, you know. Well, anyway, it's a long story, but anyway, fast forward down the track. You know, they said it was finished, and I pulled over and checked it out, and I was completely gutted. I've even put this in my book if you want to check it out in more detail at the end of the book. I was very devastated, very gutted, but you sort of I went to the company I went through now and got them to see if they could fix it, and they said they'd get back to me, but I just knew, I had that feeling that there's no way they can fix that, but I have to just start again and cut my losses and just learn from that experience, you know what I mean? But I can tell, like, that idea was no good anyway, so you can see one idea led to another idea. So basically, in my car, I pulled out my notepad, and I did a sketch. I outlined it, a mobile phone, an old mobile phone, and I did a sketch of what I was gonna do, and then I weighed up that idea. But it was an idea that I used, but I only used a percentage of that idea. I come up with an even better idea. I can't disclose what I've come up with, but anyway, one idea leads to another idea leads to another idea. It's like I can see it's a bit like a book in a way, because like you get it up to one level, and then you branch off and work out what you want and go, nah, that's no good, and you delete it. Sometimes you can't. You can't always get everything right in one go, you know. Who comes up with their first business or whatever, blockbuster idea first time around, whatever. Well, anyway, one idea led to another idea, led to another idea, and that's one of the big keys to success in this world, is one thing leads to another. So basically, you know, now I've like come up with this idea, and then when I deep got into the idea, right, and then you're like constantly, your mind's tuned to that idea to weigh up, would it work? You know, you're filtering information to see whether you've got to realize, like, you've got to use your imagination, your creative imagination, to tap in to see, would this idea work? You know, if you could go abracadabra bang and this idea was out right now, would the world want it? Would it be used? Is there a need for it? Is it just going to be thrown in the trash? Is it going to collect dust and nobody use it? You know. So I believe this idea, there is a very good use for it. It can provide a lot of value to a lot of people. So we'll have to just see. And then I sort of like, I came up with the name while washing my car. I was playing around with names, and I went on GoDaddy, and I did a Google search and checked what names, because I didn't want to pay a ridiculous price for the domain. And I come up with it. I was like, wow, this is like you're playing up with different names, and a name is a big thing, I'll tell you. It's a big decision. The wrong name, you know, won't work. But I've come up with the name now. I bought the domain. I bought that ages ago now. And with the logo, I got inspiration with the logo. I got that from the other platform that I built. So I got an idea from that. I was like, at the end, when you're salvaging the platform, it's like, gee, what can I keep? What ideas? Or, you know, so I come up with that as one of the icons for it. And then with the developer, we played around and we changed the color slightly. So that's a big change. You can see, like, yeah, I'd have to say, like, with building an app, it is a big ordeal building an mobile app, I'll tell you. Like when we built it, we went one direction. He did a sketch on paper, and I said, nah, I don't want to do it like that at all. And then we went to a completely different direction, and then I've had to do like 100 revisions, like sending him each week, revisions and revisions and revisions and revisions of changes. And I used a mobile app called Adobe Spark Post. So it's very good to check that out, because, like, put it this way, it's hard to describe things in text, but if you've got a photo and you can put arrows on it and all that, I've put all the information in my book in more detail, so you can describe. Put it this way, if you're using your creative imagination, right, how in the hell are you going to describe that to somebody? You can't. So they need to drop to your level by using Adobe Spark Post, the mobile app, to get the photo. You screenshot the photo or whatever, and you can chop many photos together, and you can put arrows and information, and you can zoom it in and out. You could do that many modifications. So it sort of uses your creative imagination and your creative vision to grasp, so you can tell people what you want. Trust me, it's you can use that on many things. Alright guys, I'll leave it there. I plan on getting back into YouTube a bit more. I've got a lot to talk about, a lot of things that I can pass on to you guys that I think that can be useful. That's why my channel is called Justin Allen's Good Advice Channel. I've got a lot of good advice to give you guys. Like I've basically filtered a lot of information through books and everything that I've learned up to my life from everybody and everything. And you got to realize one thing in life, that I believe in this concept I put in my book, that you have not learnt anything unless you can explain it to yourself, to other people, or both. Alright guys, see you guys, bye.